Dean Barker, Jimmy Spittle and Glenn Ashby could find themselves scrambling for citizenship of other countries following an indication of new protocols for the next America's Cup. Team New Zealand has released the first details of the next America's Cup, indicating it is likely to be held in Auckland in 2021 with strict conditions, including a constructed in-country rule for boats, as well as a requirement for crews to be citizens of the country they are competing for. Dr. Mark Orams is a yachting commentator and head of sport and recreation at AUT. I spoke with him earlier and asked him what the changes will mean.
It's really a move back to the original concept for the America's Cup, and that is that it is a contest between yacht clubs of foreign nations, and that both the boats themselves and the people sailing them should be citizens of those nations.
For New Zealand and the boat building industry, I mean, the last event was quite a bonanza. So those major boats were largely built in Warkworth. So what does it mean for them?
Well, of course, there are many components that get built in these boats, and I'm sure that the rule won't say anything about some of the componentry and small aspects of it, because that would exclude a number of nations who don't have high-tech boat building industries from potentially challenging. So I don't think it's the end for core composites in Warkworth. I mean, that's their decision, of course, but there'll still be plenty of opportunities for business for them, and of course they already do a whole series of business outside of the America's Cup. They have good business opportunities with other areas to do with manufacturing and modern composite technology. So I don't think that's of major concern, but that's their call and their owner's call as to where they're located.
Or could they relocate? I mean, they could maybe stay here but send some of their workers to other countries.
Yeah, absolutely. So there could be a scenario, for example, where the hulls, if the hulls or hull, if it's a monohull, have to be constructed in country of origin, they could be done, and then it could be shipped out to New Zealand for fitting out and for commissioning ready to sail. So that's an option for them, as it is for any other potential challenger as well. All the challengers coming to New Zealand will want to spend significant time here, and so that will be of major benefit for New Zealand, and it may well be that they ship their basic yachts down here and then fit them out and trial them and then eventually compete in them down here in New Zealand. So those options are all available to challenging nations. But I think the important concept here is that the America's Cup, throughout its over 150-year history, has been a competition between yacht clubs from sovereign nations. And the erosion, I think, has been unfortunate in the last several cycles, that it's almost been kind of token gesture, where we've got both sailors and boats and equipment coming from all over the place, as opposed to what was the original concept as set down under the Deed of Gift in 1851.
That nationality requirement, though, where does that leave Dean Barker? Because, of course, he headed the Japanese crew this last time.
Yes, well, it'll be an interesting one for not just Dean Barker, but for people like Jimmy Spittle as well. Obviously, they were competing for nations that they're not citizens of, so they've got to make a decision. They would have, if they have an opportunity, I would assume, and it depends on the rules of the particular nation involved, as to whether they become a citizen of that country, and that's for them to make that call. But I'm actually in support of this idea. I think that it seems a little bit strange that you have a team with a country name like USA, and there's only one sailor on board from that country. Similarly, a team called Team Japan, where there's only one Japanese citizen on board the yacht. So that's not really what was in mind for the America's Cup, and I think to move back to having the crew, the competing crew, citizens or nationals of the country of the challenging yacht club is a good thing.
It could also mean, though, that Team New Zealand loses Glenn Ashby.
Well, potentially, but of course he's been resident in New Zealand for quite some time now, so he would meet the eligibility to apply for New Zealand citizenship, I assume, if he chose to. So that's an option available, not just for him, but for others as well.
And of course,
4 years away to the next Cup, summer of 2021.
And also, Mark, there's no mention of what class of yacht will be used in this statement. We'll have to wait until September, it seems.
Yes, that's right. So it's just a really preliminary, if you like, kind of setting some of the ground rules or the philosophy. And the two decisions that they have indicated, well, there are three things. One, that they're going to hold it in Auckland, probably the summer, early summer of 2021. Secondly, that they're going to bring back a country of origin in terms of construction. They haven't said how much, what percentage, whether it's 100%, 50%. And thirdly, that the competing crew, so those are the people who are actually racing the yacht, need to be nationals of the yacht club of the country of origin. So they've given an indication there, or put a stake in the ground, if you like, of where they're seeing this go. So it'll be interesting as to whether that same philosophy is applied to the yachts, because, of course, it's only been the last two cups that we've gone to multi-hulls and foiling yachts. So be interesting to see what Team New Zealand and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, together with the Challenger of Record from Italy, announce for the next boat. I'd be very surprised if they go back to a boat that's not high performance and cutting edge, because that is the tradition of the America's Cup. Whether that's a foiling multi-hull, whether it's a mono-hull with foils, I'm not sure. But I'd be confident that we will see the sort of yacht that they have the parameters around continues with the tradition of the America's Cup being cutting edge and at the pinnacle of the sport of sailing internationally.
And that was Dr. Mark Orams.